Ladies and gentlemen, this is the place where we discuss your team, your town, your 76ers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 83 to Infinity podcast. My name is John Brown from the Jonesy and Brown Show. When we discuss Sixers, I like to discuss it with my family, aka the first family of New Philly Sports Media. Let me introduce you to the panel today. From Fox Sports The Gambler, he is also the host of the Broad Street Line, Mr. Roy Burton. What's happening, Roy?
What's going on, gentlemen?
All right. From Fansided, he is also the founder and editor-in-chief of Total Sports Live. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Javon Alford. What's going on, sir?
Glad to be back on as always with y'all.
Always a pleasure to have you on. And last but not least, not bringing up the rear, we saved the best for last. Ladies and gentlemen, the senior black correspondent from LibertyBallers.com. What is the name of your podcast?
So it's the Teves and Kid Phoenix versus podcast. So
Yes,
we don't do a whole lot of sports. We do a whole lot of pop culture nonsense. But at the same time, we mix in sports when we can.
Nah, you had me on there, and I drafted the greatest team of fictional sports players of all time.
We need to have another one of those.
No, my team is the greatest. Just give me my squad, and we'll run it back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Adil Royster. How are you, sir?
Uncle John, what's going on, fam?
What is happening? So I got a text earlier today from my nephew Adil, who said, "Hey man, we need to have a family meeting because the Sixers are starting their season. They're kicking off the season. If you saw my last podcast with my man Mike Jones and Tyrone Johnson, we pretty much ain't a lot to talk about the 76ers. I mean, the season is here.
This is why I felt we needed a family meeting, okay?
Okay.
Because it's way too early in the Sixers season for everybody to be doom and gloom.
Okay.
And I also both hate and appreciate the fact that Jonesy is not on this podcast because he would kill my uplifting vibe here.
Yes. That should be contagious. That's something that needs to be shared. I've been hosting a show with this man for about 6-7 years, and you know how many different vibes that man has killed when we've tried to do a show. Nah, that's something I need to share with people.
Much like the New Day in professional wrestling, you bring me here for the power of positivity, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Are you saying that you have positivity as far as the Philadelphia 76ers?
We'll get into it, but yes.
Okay. You feel positive going into the season.
Well, listen, if not now, when, you know?
Javon, Roy, do you share this man's enthusiasm for 76ers basketball?
Well, train is pulling in. We got snacks.
All right, let me start first, and I'll just say he is 100%. He is 100% right. If you're not going to be positive now, like there's, when are you going to be positive, right? Like everybody, as of this recording, everybody is 0-0.
Yes.
The Sixers are probably almost as healthy as they're going to be, for the rest of the season. Obviously, McCain's a couple weeks out, so is Paul George probably a couple weeks out, but they're relatively healthy otherwise. So I think now is probably the time to be as optimistic as we can be. I mean, obviously, if you want to get on the train later, as Dio said, once the team goes out to like a 4-1 record, that's fine. But I mean, let's beat the rush. Everybody, let's just jump on board. And then when they if they give you a reason to be negative, then be negative. But let's have some fun right now.
I can understand that, and you know me, I am a frequent bandwagon jumper owner and offer.
You?
Habitual line stepper.
I am a habitual line stepper. Yes, there are 82 games in the season. I could jump on and off this bandwagon 82 times this season. It does not matter.
Fired 30 times in your mind. I get it. I understand.
It's like, look, man, I could be writing the pink slip out now, but I am going to indulge my man Adil, and I am going to join him in this possibility because
why not?
Well, I will say this time last year when we were going into the season, I thought the writing was on the wall as to why this team was not going to go far. I think it was partly because the two main pieces of this team were injured and would probably be injured for most of the season. And they had pieces together that could be good, but you're not sure how they're going to work out with one another. And there were other question marks, and there were also there's a lot of old people on the squad.
Still are, to be fair.
But I told myself, I'm like, look, I just don't have it in me to be angry for a whole basketball season. I don't have 82 games of anger. And I'm going to go into this season the same way. Even though I will admit that the way the Phillies season ended has kind of piqued my anger a little bit, where it's like, all right, I'm a little angrier than I was going into last basketball season.
I'm gonna need you to stop. I'm gonna need you to hold on. You can't transfer angry Phillies energy to the Sixers basketball season. That is completely unfair. That is totally unfair.
Life's unfair, bro.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna get into this right now. I've been holding this. I didn't want to say it on like anything. I was gonna hold it for social media, but you know what? I'm gonna say it right now.
Okay, all right.
I don't need casual Philadelphia Sixers fans to come in here. They don't have the Phillies. They don't really watch the Flyers. I don't need y'all coming in here and harshing my buzz, okay?
Uh-huh.
Your baseball team flamed out. The Eagles are doing well, and like whatever happens at the Eagles season, like don't bring that bad energy over here, all right? Don't come in here putting on NBC Sports Philly in like February and wonder why the hell the Sixers aren't good when they have all these pieces, all these players. Like, listen, I have been in this thing since before they traded Drew Holiday. Okay, I've been invested in this franchise since before then. I don't need all you casuals from like Northern Liberties and Fishtown. I don't need y'all guys. I don't need you guys. Okay.
Why are you trying to attack my Northern Liberties fan base right there?
I'm sorry. I apologize, but it's true in my opinion that like the hipsters are the biggest violators of said activity. Okay.
Oh, wow.
They come in, they watch a couple games, they go to a couple games, they spend some money, and they bone out when spring training starts. Okay. You know that's the damn truth.
That is true. That is very true. However, this is a family meeting. You are with your family. You are with three brothers who are 4 for 4. So therefore, look, I am 4 teams full of bad energy. All right,
it's okay.
Hold on. The Temple Owls are not bad energy. All right,
and the Union are in the playoffs.
The Union are in the playoffs. We got some good juju around here.
There's some good vibes.
I'm
trying. Okay, I'm doing my best.
I know this man didn't just tell me the Temple Owls. He said that with a straight face too.
26,000 at the link the other week for that Navy game.
Let me just point.
The Casey Keeler era.
That's 26,000, 24,000 from Navy, but it's all right though. A ticket is a ticket. I'm just like it's all good.
Ticket revenue all goes into
exactly. They still paid for those tickets, so it's like I'm not mad. I understand.
And this is all I'll say about Pennsylvania collegiate sports. Listen, Temple's got a better record than Penn State. That's all I'm going to say.
Talk about it.
Yep.
No, let's not talk about it. Moving on.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that.
We don't want
that smoke. We don't want that.
No, we do not.
No.
But Javon, I turn to you. You see how this offseason played out. And for the most part, it looks like a team that did not make the playoffs they're going to run it back. And that is going to disappoint some people. That's going to lead, last season left a sour taste on top of the sour taste that their exit from the playoffs the year before left them. So now here you go. You had a team that was bounced in the first round by a New York team that looked like they were on the rise. They then took a step backwards by falling out of the playoffs, and now that same team is going to run it back. Why should people be optimistic other than the fact that it's October and they just can't be mad all season?
Well, that is the first point. It is October. You can't be mad. There are worse teams to be fans of than the Sixers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Utah Jazz. I mean,
Talk about
Washington Wizards. I mean,
Talk about it.
those are three franchises with like no hope and no direction. But I think, like you said, there are people that probably were upset that they didn't do certain things. But I will say that them having the season that they had last year was almost a blessing in disguise, in that they were able to play like 53 different lineups, but you saw a lot of growth and development from a lot of young players that are going to be dependent on to have, you know, bigger roles. And you found out about guys like Quentin Grimes, who you didn't know what you were going to get from him, you know, coming from Dallas. He becomes like, he just turns into like a star on a bad team, you know, scoring like 20, 25 points a night, which, you know, they needed it because Jared Butler wasn't doing it for you. But when you have all those pieces, I think coming into this season, there should be optimism, because the Sixers did something that they should have done a long time ago, which was building. Get younger, get more athletic. And I think that's what you have with this group. You have more athleticism. You have youth at a lot of positions with the Grimes, the Maxis, the McCains, the Edgecombe, you know, the Janai Brooms, the Adem Bonas. Like, there's a lot that really works where you can kind of see there's one timeline of the Sixer team, which is obviously Paul George and Joel Embiid at their later stages, but you can also see like a new timeline starting to like grow at the same time, like with these younger players, and Justin Edwards, you can't forget about him, like with these younger players, that gives you hope that all the growing pains that they went through last year, it should be a seamless transition coming in, you know, to this season.
Roy, I turn to you as well, and in fact, and any of you guys want to chime in. I think in his absence, one point that Mike Jones has made about this Sixers team that kind of leaves a bad taste in his mouth, gives him an uneasy feeling. He feels like there's a lack of a true point guard.
Sure.
So you have these pieces and no real player to facilitate the ball. Does that worry you as well?
Yeah, I mean, it worries me that they don't have a true point guard. It worries me they really don't have a true power forward, to be honest with you, which is they got killed on the glass. They've consistently been getting killed on the glass for years. So that worries me. But again, to Javon's point, I mean, you did learn a lot of things about these young guys last year, right? Like, you know, he had some struggles at times, but you see that Tyrese Maxey can be a very good number 2 complementary option, right? Like, Tyrese Maxey is going to be a star in this league. You know, you saw, you know, Jared McCain. I mean, like, you hit on something with Jared McCain, you know, before that injury. Like, he is a, you know, an bona fide NBA talent, very good player. Again, not a lead guard, but again, he's going to get you some points, get you some buckets, you know, and be a, you know, very, you know, tenacious, you know, player on both ends. You know, the Quentin Grimes thing. I mean, you stole Quentin Grimes. I mean, like, that was one of the heists of the century with Quentin Grimes. And yeah, he's probably just a 1 year rental at this point. But again, like, if you want to make a run this year, you have a good player in Quentin Grimes. Adem Bona, you know, probably, you know, outshined my expectations for him. Like, I thought he was like a basically end of the bench kind of guy, and I think now he's probably like a number 2 center. You know, like, he's not a starter, but he's a high energy, you know, big off the bench. So, and you know, you have some pieces, again, to Javon's point, like, you have this timeline, which is probably this year, and then if you want to stretch it next year with Embiid and Paul George and say, all right, this is the very, very soon to be closing window with this group of guys. But you have at least a few other guys, plus BJ Edgecombe, who are going to be part of that next window, who are going to be here for 4 or 5, 6, 7 years, you know, knock on wood, that, you know, can develop, you know, with this team. And whether or not you win anything these next 2 years, I feel a lot better about this team, you know, the 2027, 2028 version of this team, because of what we saw last year.
That's all good for 2027, 2028. I mean, that's good to know. Yeah, 2027, 2028. This team is going to be good. But like for this year, and I like the pieces, but I feel like one of the things that I've heard, and a knock that I've heard on Tyrese Maxey is he is a really good piece. He's a really good piece to build with, not necessarily a piece to build around. Like, there's not going to be a lot of free agents or whatever that says, hey, I need to go play with Tyrese Maxey. But I think a lot of players would say, hey, they'll go to their team and say, "Hey, can you get me Tyrese Maxey?"
Sure. But how many? But to your, I'm sorry to cut you off. But to your point, how many players are like, I want to go play with X, right? Like, how many of those X players are there really in the league? Maybe 10. Like, if we're stretching it, like, you know what I mean? So, like, outside of that upper echelon of players, and we know who those guys are. Like, I don't think there's a lot of those guys. And Tyrese Maxey is, all-star caliber kind of guy. Like, he's in that next, 15 to 20 range outside of those top echelon guys. So, I mean, to have one of those, I mean, if you don't have one of those guys, those top 10 guys, and we can debate the Embiid thing in a second, but if you don't have one of those top 10 guys, then to have, one of those guys in Tyrese Maxey, like, that's, at a young age, and under contract for the next few years. I mean, I think that's a positive.
I understand. Well, look, we actually saw in the preseason Joel Hans Embiid play professional basketball
and not get hurt.
And not get
hurt.
Well, to our knowledge,
you're skewing negative again. You're skewing negative.
Hey, look, man, it is what it is, bro. We've been doing. Look, I've known you for a long time. We've had a lot of conversations about basketball.
We have.
We didn't have many of these conversations about basketball. So yes, you know what? I'm sitting here and I'm taking it one day at a time. I was very happy to see him. Very happy to see him on the court, and I thought he looked good in the time that he had. I also thought that I felt like, yes, the team was playing a preseason game against Minnesota, who didn't start anybody I would ever recognize on the street, but nonetheless, I still felt like they played with an energy that was encouraging. Like, okay, is this what this team is going to look like with a healthy Embiid on the floor? Did you guys see that? And did you find some sort of encouragement from that?
First of all, wow, shots fired at Bones Highland. Jesus Christ.
Rob Dillingham.
Man, just no respect for Bones. Jesus.
Well, let me ask you this. If Bones walked into the room right now with a shirt on and said, "Hey, I'm Bones," would you recognize him?
I probably not.
Exactly.
But to John's point about Embiid a little bit, I think this season, more than most, I feel like if you've ever seen that movie Moneyball, and in the first half hour, 45 minutes or so, and they're explaining, hey, all right, we're not going to be able to go out and get somebody like Jason Giambi. We just don't have the money for it, this, that, and the third. What we can do is recreate him in the aggregate, which I think is kind of what the plan was going into this offseason. So, if Joel goes down for an elongated period of time, I think this season, more than others, I think the Sixers are in a better position to recreate Embiid in the aggregate between Adem Bona, Drummond, and Janai Broom, who I really love that pick at 35. Between those three guys, I think you could do a center by committee kind of thing based on matchups. And I think the Sixers are going to be able to steal one or two of those back-to-back games against, the Charlottes of the world, or like you were saying, the Sacramento Kings of the world, or, the Brooklyn Nets of the world. I think they are better equipped to handle one Embiid-less night, or an Embiid-less week and a half, outside of a month. I don't know if that's sustainable for months and months and months, but spot starting, I'm okay with a Broom, Drummond, Bona center rotation, and then run small ball the rest of the way.
As of right now, first, they got 2 back-to-backs coming up in about 3 weeks.
Oh, we can talk about the back-to-backs later. Jesus.
Well, I guess my point is, my point is, it looks like Embiid is going to actually be playing when the season tips off.
According to everything I've read, he will be suiting up tomorrow. Yeah.
He'll be suiting up. And is it realistic to think he can play if we don't have a back-to-back until November 4th. You got November 4th and 5th, and then 8th and 9th. You got back-to-backs with the Bulls and Cavaliers on the 4th and 5th. Is it reasonable to say, hey, Joel, can you give me up until then? Hey, we'll give you off for the Bulls, and then we'll suit you up against the Cavs.
Oh yeah. I think he's going to play
That's
every game,
reasonable.
unless it's a back-to-back. He's not going to play both ends. But other than that, I think he's going to play every game. You know, I think he'll try to at least early on. So yeah, I think that's realistic.
I guess we can ask this now. I'll set the number.
Yeah, what's the number?
Or do we want the guy that actually writes for the gambling website to set the number?
That is kind of your forte, sir.
Kind of your Johns.
That's what you do.
Set the number. Embiid games played.
I'll set
Based on
it
history.
based on history. I'll set it at
17 games. No, I'm kidding.
all right.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
Right.
No, that was a joke. No.
I'll probably set it at. Let's go with 58.
Woo! Oh, I'll take the under easy. Let me cash out on that.
I'll take
I'll retire tomorrow.
I'll take the over on that. I'll take the over on that, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Barring catastrophic injury, right? He won't play in the back-to-back games, right? So that's 8 games right there.
No, 16.
But if he's not playing back-to-backs, he's only playing in half of those. He's playing the front
No, they have
end.
16 sets of back-to-backs. So he's not playing
Jesus
16.
Christ.
Yeah, they have 16
right.
sets of back-to-backs. So
All
he's
right.
down. So he's down 16. So that's 66.
I'll go 60. I think he can get 60.
There's no way.
60
There's no way he
puts,
does.
60 puts him in the war conversation, right?
No,
60
60.
61.
I thought
No,
65 was-
65. I believe. I'll look it up. I believe it's
Yeah.
65.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
going
go
to.
over. I'll take 60.
Okay, I am going to join my friend Roy in the promised land. I'm going to put all my kids into college and
Do
possibly
it.
my grandson into college
Do
by
it.
taking the under on
Little
this
pop.
50. Yeah, exactly. Look, Pop-Pop's got to take care. I got to take care of my little man. You know what I
Get
mean?
those-
that
those-
trust fund.
Tuition. I got to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff ain't going, and I'm cursed with smart kids. So, problem, I got to pay.
Get them scholarships, man.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Listen.
Lord knows I'm trying. But I'm going to take I think I'm going to take the under on that. And it's not even, all jokes aside, I think that's a tall order. There's going to be a stint on the injured list, I think, coming from Mr. Embiid. Even if it's just a couple of games, even if it's not long at all, maybe not something serious, but it's like, okay, I think there's going to be missed games outside of just the back-to-backs. So yeah, I'm gonna take the under on that.
Just a quick question, since we're talking about back-to-backs. Like, I'm just gonna ask the 3 of you, right?
Oh.
What would you prefer out of these 3 choices? Fewer total regular season games, a longer regular season where there's no back-to-backs. I guess it's 2 choices, or just how it is now.
I would probably go for fewer games. I wouldn't
play
mind
too many
fewer
games.
Yeah.
And I just think that in this era, I think that 82 games plus playoffs plus Olympics plus whatever the hell the NBA Cup is. I know they're factored into regular season games, but there is an intensity level with those NBA Cup games that sometimes rivals playoff intensity. So you're putting way more tax on guys in the regular season than you normally would.
I would not know because I cheer for the Philadelphia 76ers, who have yet to look good in any of these NBA Cup games. This is what, year 3, 4 of the NBA? Year 3 of the NBA Cup, and at the first round of eliminations from that tournament, from that god awful tournament. And I say it's god awful because the team I cheer for is constantly eliminated first. You know, maybe if they had better luck, maybe if they played better in that tournament, I would feel better about it. Right now, all I see is ugly courts and early elimination.
So we're all in agreement for fewer games.
Fewer games.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. That's the thing. That's a problem.
Mhm.
Because
And I don't.
there's too much money involved. But
66 games was so perfect. It was
Yep.
so perfect.
it's the right.
Agreed.
And it's somewhere between 66 and 70 is the right number of games. Like
Yeah.
that's the perfect number of games. Like
Yeah.
And I really don't think there was anybody who said during 66 game seasons, wow, I wish we had more
Right.
games.
right.
The owners were
Well,
saying
yeah.
that.
Well,
I mean, the owners might have been saying that, but I don't know about fans or players that were just sitting there thinking, you know what would make this better?
More games.
16 more games. Wow, if we did that, this league would be awesome. Nobody said that. Like, I think it would make the regular season mean more. You wouldn't need in season tournaments
Right.
Mhm.
because
That's a whole different animal. I mean, we know why that's in there.
well, I mean, we know why. We know why it's all being
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Same reason why there's 18 NFL games. Same
Right.
reason why there's 162 MLB games when the number should be something like 130. Yeah, we all know the reason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. But it is what it is. But as far as the actual product goes, I wouldn't mind 66 games.
The product will be better. That's what I don't understand.
That's
Like,
the
again,
thing.
You'd
Yeah.
have less of the less physical games, but I mean, like you'd have better games. Like these guys,
Yes.
like these guys sit out for like no reason now, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like guys sit out for phantom injuries or whatever, like all the time. It's like if you had 66 games, these games would mean more. You wouldn't have back to backs, and you would be able to see Steph Curry 66 times. Like
Yep.
on a basketball court. Like it's
Exactly.
Listen,
No.
I can't confirm or deny this, but I mean, like Kawhi Leonard had to sit out a game after like having bad service at Del Taco last year. I think.
No, I think that.
he's probably playing the trigger or something. Like
Yeah. Oh, wow.
No, no. Kawhi was probably out working late at his phony job that he
yeah,
had.
playing
Yeah.
some
He's
trees.
playing
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
he
know?
was out there planting trees or something.
Yeah.
Now, this season presents kind of a rare opportunity for the 76ers in that there's a lot of teams that are down
Yeah, man.
that are usually
Mhm.
up.
Mhm.
Does that play into your enthusiasm or how you look for? Like, look, man, ain't gonna be no Tatum this year, bruh. I don't care what he says.
Don't ask me what seed they're gonna be because you won't like the answer.
Was he the Sixers are gonna be?
Yeah, in the Eastern Conference. Don't ask me
Uh-oh.
that question. You're not gonna like it.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Because you know what's going to come next. Let me finish my point, but then I'm going to ask the question that you want me not to ask you. You're more than likely you're dealing with a Celtics team with no Tatum,
Mhm.
a Pacers team with no Halliburton. The Knicks are the Knicks. They could crush all in the East, or they could be the Knicks.
Mhm.
It's as much. It's crazy to say this. It is crazy to say this because as much as the Sixers can just can be like the Phillies of pro basketball. It's like, hey, what's going to happen is going to happen. You get your enthusiasm up, and then the season ends when it ends.
Yep.
And it's like the Knicks are the Mets. It's
Wow. Holy shit.
I said it with BITW Sports on
Wow.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You got something to say to me?
Wow.
I'm here. I want all that smoke. But the Knicks and the Mets,
Mets fans are like, what the hell did we do?
you saw what they did.
Damn.
I'm waiting for y'all to tell me I'm wrong. But nonetheless, East seems to be wide open. So therefore, let me circle back to what I was going to ask, which Adil told me not to ask. But where do you see these guys finishing in the East?
Can I at least not go first?
You go ahead, Jovan. I'll let you go.
Where I see them finishing, that's their
yeah.
That's the in general. I could see them being like maybe third or fourth.
Woo.
If like everything like breaks even with this team, just because like Jonathan pointed out, the East is very just like the teams that you would expect to be there. You don't know, right? We don't know what Boston's going to be. Sans Tatum, sans Al Horford, no Porzingis. You know, Cleveland. I don't know if what Cleveland might be that prototypical. They're a good regular season team, but in the postseason, they don't got that it factor.
Yep.
Orlando seems like Orlando's Orlando. Like I think they're gonna be good, but you don't know. Like, and again in the playoffs, but I think they finally got their point guard. And you look everywhere else in the East, it's a lot of question marks of what they can. Who's going to be that like top tier team mantle outside of the Knicks, like everybody's favorite out of the East. So I think third or fourth, if everything breaks even, and it goes back to my beginning point of just this team's youth, and this team's youth, I think is going to play a huge part in that, and these guys having that experience from last year. So I see three or four because I'm everywhere else in the East. I just don't know. I don't know about Milwaukee. With just Giannis and Miles Turner, that doesn't scare nobody. I mean, I don't in the Southeast. I don't know either. So like, it's really, I think
it definitely is wide open. Yeah, Roy.
So just to Jovan's point, like this team, probably more than any team, maybe in basketball, has the widest variance of options.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yep.
Like if they finish 3 or 4 in the East, you're like, all right, that's possible. If you told me they finished 10th or 11th, I'm like, that's possible too, right? You wouldn't be surprised by either outcome, whether it's 3 or 11, right? Like out of the playoffs, out of the play-in entirely, or third or fourth best team. I don't think everything breaks right, but I don't think everything can break as wrong as it did last year. Right? Embiid, missed most of the season. Paul George missed half the season. Tyrese Maxey got hurt. Darren McCain missed, a large portion of his rookie season. I don't think you're going to have that bad of injury luck this year, right? My only concern is that you play the Western Conference 30 times, a year. That, those are 20 of those games are going to be rough slogs. They're going to be rough games. So if I had to put a seed on the Sixers, I'm probably just going to say 6 because I think it kind of just falls in the middle because they're better than the garbage teams, right? Like they're better they're clearly better than the Nets. They'll smoke the Nets, they'll smoke the Wizards and all that stuff. But I think Cleveland and the Knicks are better. But that middle range of teams, to Javon's point, like Orlando is, they're good and young and things like that. But are they the third best team in the East? No, not yet. The Hawks. Like I'm not overly concerned about those teams in a 7-game series. I'd put those teams, the Sixers, up against those teams when healthy. Those middle teams, I wouldn't be scared of any of those teams. But I just think, there'll be some better luck with injuries, but not that much. I'm not going to say Embiid's going to play 65 games and Paul George is going to play 70. So
I'm saying that.
If I put a number, I think a reasonable seed for the Sixers is probably 6. So I'll go 6, just out of the play-in tournament.
And that's a dangerous 6 seed if we think about it.
I think that's where you want to be. I think that's where you want to be.
Yeah. I honestly, that's probably where I am with it too. I look at the schedule and I think it kind of bounces the Sixers' way. You talk about struggling against the West. They don't play it. They play one Western Conference team first month and a half of the season. That's the Clippers, and that's at home.
And Kawhi might not even be playing.
Yeah, Kawhi might not be playing. Embiid might be playing.
It's a wash.
Try to see who they play around that kid. And no back-to-backs either. You know what? Exactly. They played a Friday before that game. They played the Pistons. So you got Saturday and Sunday to rest Embiid up to play on Monday, and then he has off on Tuesday. There you go.
The first 20 games of the Sixers schedule, it's pretty favorable.
Yeah, they got a really easy, not easy, but it's pretty
not
decent.
easy, but it's like middle of the road.
It bounces in their favor. They'll be all right.
However, those first couple of games in December are rough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Golden State, Lakers, and the Knicks, and Dallas, all in the
The,
beginning of
the,
December.
the Lakers don't really scare me. I'm sorry.
That's a different podcast for a different day.
The Lakers don't scare you. What?
All right. I guess.
You Stephen A. Smith now? What are you talking about? No,
All
but
right, I guess it's my turn to be that guy.
oh,
Uh-oh.
where is he going with this?
If everything breaks right and like
He's gonna
the injuries are mitigated,
He's going to say 3.
You gonna say 2?
no, I have one team better than the Sixers.
Oh, God.
Okay, all right, hear me out. Cleveland is Cleveland. Cleveland is just what Jovan said. Great regular season team, flames out. They are all sizzle, no steak. Okay. The Knicks are breaking in a new head coach. They're going from Tom Thibodeau to Mike Brown. That's going to be an adjustment period.
Sure.
And to that point, Mike Brown team. Mike Brown hasn't had a team win 50 games since 2009-2010 when he won 61 with the Cavs and then 66 the year before. The NBA is markedly different from 2009-2010. It's a lot younger. There's more spacing. I don't know if a Mike Brown coached team, despite how talented the Knicks are, I don't know if he gets them well past 55. Atlanta, I do not trust because Porzingis in the front court, they are an injury away from being right back in the middle of the pack. Detroit, I don't believe in because they can't shoot.
Yep.
Orlando, same problem. I know they brought in Desmond Bane, but outside of Desmond Bane, they can't shoot. Yeah. And then when I look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, I'm sitting here and I'm looking, all right, Indiana will be there, but not until the end of the season. Milwaukee, I don't know what the hell they're going to get out of their backcourt. The Bulls, the Bulls will be a funky like playing team. Miami, write them off right now. Toronto will be fun, but like talent wise, Sixers are, as right now, the Sixers are more healthy than, for example, the Celtics or the Pacers. Right now, I gotta have them higher than those two teams, and I think in a 7-game series, I'm taking the Sixers over the Knicks if they're healthy. So I have the Sixers at the highest 2, at the lowest 4. Stunned looks from everybody.
No, I'm looking at Jonathan's face. He's
I'm not out here saying some wild shit like they're going to win. Listen, they're not going to win like 60 games or anything.
If they're to the 2 seed, they're going to win with 55, right?
You know what? This is what I'm going to do.
Well, the 2 seed was Boston last year, and they won 61.
Right. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm giving you a little grace. Okay. Like,
the Knicks won 51 games. I don't think they're getting to 55. I don't.
I need to say this.
I swear I'm not on any drugs.
I know you're not on. I know you're not. I need to say this, and I want you all to hold me to this. Adio Royster, if the Philadelphia 76ers finish this season with the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, I will donate $200 in your name to whatever charity you want.
All right. Hey, all right.
Oh, there
all
we
right.
go.
I don't do. I'm not a big gambler, but I will tell you this: if the Philadelphia 76ers finish with the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, I will donate $200 in your name to whatever charity you want.
Like Roy said, the Sixers have the greatest
variance,
spacing of variance of any team in the league.
Watch,
so
and now that I have said that, now that I have put that out there in the universe, I fully expect Joel Embiid is being shot up with some intergalactic chemical that will then regenerate all meniscus in his knee.
You don't get to do
This
Joel,
man,
send him to Germany. It's fine.
The Kobe treatment.
Joel Embiid will now be the MVP. He's going to have put up wilt numbers and play 82 games in the season just because I know how my life is.
I never said Embiid was going to be the number one reason for that. If Embiid just puts up 20, if he does 20, 15, and 6 assists, that's all gravy.
I believe that. I do believe that if you can get a somewhat healthy Embiid and a somewhat healthy Paul George, because the two of them you can't write those guys off. No matter, yes, they're aging players, but they're not senior citizens. This is not, Joel Embiid is not Kyle Lowry. But I say that to say, like, look, man, Kyle Lowry's almost 40 years old. Nobody's game planning for Kyle Lowry. But if you have a healthy Embiid, you still have to game plan for Joel Embiid.
I have several wild awards takes related to that number 2 seed.
Oh,
look,
boy.
If
Jared McCain, 6th man of the year.
Oh,
that would make that.
I don't even hate that. That's way more reasonable than the 2 seed.
VJ Edgecombe as a rookie, All NBA 3rd defense.
I can see
that. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I'm giving all my money to your charity, so I have nothing to follow that up. There'll be no parlays. There'll be no add-ons. I'm giving all my money to your charity, but nonetheless, okay. I
got one more. I got one more for you.
Okay.
A Dembona.
No, not Dembona. Hell no.
Joel Embiid comeback player of the year.
We need to have a discussion about comeback player of the year. It's a dumb award.
Sorry, it is dumb.
Tyrese Maxey will be a top 10 MVP vote getter. He won't win the award, but he'll be in top 10.
Yeah, I can see it.
He'll be in top 10 MVP talks.
I think those are 3 reasonable award takes. I'm not trying to be funny. I think those are reasonable. If you told me all 3 of those things happen, I think that's reasonable. And if they all happen,
I'm glad you. I'll put it to you like this. I'm glad you presented that in that order. I'm glad you put the Sixers in the 2 seed first. Then you said,
I explain why.
And then you said, Edgecombe, Maxey, and McCain. Because now that makes, yes, you throw that whopper out there first and then come back. It sounds less egregious.
That's all that media training. That's all that journalism class is coming back. Like, come in with the headline.
You got to come in with. You got to hit him hard with the lead, and then
explain why. Right.
All right. So look, because I know we're up against the top of the hour. Wow. D.L. Royster thinks that the Philadelphia 76ers can finish with at least the number 2 seed in
2 to 4.
2 to 4. Yeah. You didn't say at least 2. 2 to 4.
2 to 4. Round 4 is where Javon Alford is, right?
Yeah, 3 to 4. Yeah.
3 to 4. Yeah. Okay.
I think Roy was like 6.
Roy said 6, and I am with Roy on that on the 6. I think that's where I live. 6.
Because 3-6 last year was Knicks Pistons, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, I believe that, and I believe, and all in all, I am looking forward to seeing how this season starts. I think this team, as a 4-4 guy, no, I don't separate my sports. I'm angry about the Phillies. That Phillies anger has carried on into the Sixers. That's just how it works. Okay, so I'm angry, but I need to feel better, and I'm giving the 76ers every opportunity to help me feel better. So I'm going in with an open mind. I'm going in with some enthusiasm. I want to see how this plays out, and I reserve every right to call you guys back here in February when the Sixers are 40 games out of a.
We were it was so uplifting, and then you just got to take shot like that. It's just ruin the whole moment.
Won't ruin anything. All right, you came in here talking about this number 2 seed. All right,
I did.
You came in here.
That's right. That's on me. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm making sure every person that follows me sees that part. Like they're going to see Adio Royster say, "Hey man, 2-4 for the Philadelphia 76ers," so you could get all that smoke.
Listen, I ain't scared. Everybody can find me. I ain't hiding.
I hear that. Well, tell everybody where they can find you then.
So I am personally not on Twitter anymore because that is a hellscape that I don't want to live in anymore. But I am on Instagram and Blue Sky. You can look at me. You can look for me at Adio Royster is my handle. I'm also on TikTok, but that's more for my podcast venture. No disrespect, but I do from time to time spout Sixer stuff during the season. Mm-hmm. And then, as always, LibertyBallers.com.
There you go. Javon Alford, where can people find you?
Yeah, so pretty much on Blue Sky with a DO at Jovan10, whatever that rest of the handle goes for Blue Sky. And TotalSportsLive.com as well.
And man, Roy Burton, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on said hellscape Twitter at the BS line. I'll take all smoke. It doesn't matter. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky handles the same at the BS line. And you can catch me every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the Fox Sports The Gambler. Me and John Jansen break down all the action in the NFL heading into each and every week. So if you're a gambling guy, even if you're not a gambling person, just kind of tune in. Fox Sports The Gambler, get all your NFL news as we head into each week of NFL action.
And remember, fine folks, anywhere you get your social media from, look, I think I'm on Blue Sky. I don't know. I had this stuff on my phone.
I don't think you are. I don't know.
I don't know. You know what? I'll figure it out.
Come on, Papa.
Best in the world is on there. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. BITW Sports, or you can go to our website bitwsports.com. Get all our podcasts and just stuff that we do.
You can find John doing fine work on Fox 29 behind the camera.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Way behind the camera.
Making the magic happen.
Every morning, making the magic happen with Mike and
Nah, he makes that magic all by himself. I don't want no credit for that. That is that man and his magic.
Somebody has to train the camera on him.
No, that won't be me. I just point to him and let him know that it's on, then I just step away. Say, hey, you got it, good brother. But, gentlemen, once again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys. We will reconvene, have another family meeting real soon because we're going to need it. I know we're going to need it. All right, y'all. Thanks for checking this out, man. Peace.